Good evening, welcome to the Buck Stops here. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the program this evening, an emotional Jaswant Singh denied a seat by the BJP from Barmer breaks down in an interview to NDTV. Also coming up, the ugly face of Indian politics, how despite all the talk of decriminalizing politics, statistics reveal that 35% of BJP candidates and 27% of Congress candidates getting set to contest the elections have criminal cases against their names. Do we want these people to have a chance to rule us? On the show this evening, is the cleaning up of Indian politics just a distant dream? But first, our top story. The veteran BJP leader Jaswant Singh is visibly upset, disappointed by his party at not giving him the Barmer seat to contest from in Rajasthan. Efforts are on to placate the senior leader, though it is now quite possible that he will quit the BJP and contest as an independent.
खास बातचीत के लिए एक्चुअली पहली बातचीत के लिए पहली बार जो मीडिया से रूबरू हुए हैं हमारे साथ है जसवंत सिंह जी। जसवंत सिंह जी, आप वापस यहां आ गए हैं जोधपुर। आपका अपने पैतृक गांव जसोल और बाड़मेर जाने का भी प्लान है। आपने बताया था कि जो असली बीजेपी है और नकली बीजेपी है उसके बीच में कार्यकर्ताओं को डिफ्रेंशिएट करना जरूरी है। क्या कहने का क्या अर्थ था आपका?
आपने फरमाया कि मैं वापस आ गया तो घर नहीं आऊंगा तो कहां जाऊंगा। सोच करके तकलीफ होती। असली बीजेपी, नकली बीजेपी, ये हमें सोच करके निर्णय करना पड़ेगा। ये ऐसी परीक्षा है जिससे बार बार लोगों को नहीं उलझना चाहिए। अभी जो कुछ हो रहा है वास्तव में यही अंतर है असली और नकली बीजेपी के पर। किन सिद्धांतों पर बीजेपी खड़ी है और वो कहां लेकर के जा रहे हैं इसके बारे में सोचिए। दूसरा, मैंने कहा कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी पर एक किस्म का अतिक्रमण हो गया है।
Is there also a deep sense of hurt? I mean, this is the second time that something like this has happened to you.
I don't want to give voice to my sense of hurt, but perhaps by the time I reach Barmer, which is on the 24th, it will pour out of me. And I don't want to play with sentiments. Let us see how it happens.
You also said something about in Barmer, the people will have to decide between the real BJP and the fake BJP.
That's right. There is a difference. Because if there is an encroachment, then where is the real BJP? The BJP that some principles, some values to which it adhered, irrespective of what the challenge was. We should ask ourselves, the citizens who subscribe to BJP's philosophy, they should ask, and of course the Karyakarta, those that subscribe or believe in the philosophy of BJP, political, social, economic philosophy, those who subscribe to the and reflect on the economic, on the security situation in the country, ought to reflect whether the BJP is providing the leadership that will give the answers to these questions, or are we perpetuating those very questions? It's important.
So also one direct question, will you be resigning from the party and fighting as an independent? Everybody wants to know that.
Yes, I know. But I would request you to wait until the 24th. I shall be able to answer that. Thank you very much.
So that was Jaswant Singh ji talking exclusively to us here in Jodhpur to NDTV.
Well, clearly upset over there, Jaswant Singh, almost in tears it appeared at one stage, a veteran leader of the BJP. Is this perhaps a little bit about changing the old guard in the BJP? We've seen concerns about L.K. Advani in the recent past as well, though the BJP says that, look, at the end of the day, Advani chose to contest from Gandhinagar. He wasn't forced per se. But let's talk about Jaswant Singh at this stage. Sushma Swaraj, the senior BJP leader, had this to say.
देखिए, जहां तक जसवंत सिंह जी का सवाल है, ये निर्णय पार्टी ने किया है, साधारण निर्णय नहीं है। असाधारण निर्णय अकारण तो नहीं लिए जाते, कोई ना कोई कारण रहा होगा, क्योंकि ये वो टिकट है जो चुनाव समिति में तय नहीं हुई थी, बाद में तय हुई है। कारण कोई ना कोई रहा होगा, लेकिन मुझे स्वयं को व्यक्तिगत रूप से इस निर्णय से दुख पहुंचा है।
Well, Nalin Kohli joins us now for more on this. Nalin, Sushma ji was careful in how she phrased what she had to say. She said that on the one hand, at a personal level, she was upset. But there would be substantial reasons for a decision having been taken to this effect. Did the BJP assess Jaswant Singh as not likely winning Barmer in an area where the Jat vote is important?
I will not be in a position to actually give you a straight answer on that, because that only the leadership would be who discussed it, yes, and probably arrived at the conclusion would be in a position to say so. And I think not only Sushma ji, I think today Rajnath ji also clearly said that you cannot judge a person's, his level of respect for a person or his prestige just on the basis of the ticket not being denied to him, or a ticket that is given to a person. So I think that's there. Mr. Jaitley has spoken. Everyone has spoken on this in the same light. But I think, we should wait till we hear the final thing from Mr. Jaswant Singh on that. The party has immense respect for him, and all of us individually at our personal levels also have a lot of respect for him.
Is it okay for the BJP to lose a leader like him?
Well,
because
I don't know.
He says
I
he
don't
may
know
well
whether
decide to go.
Well, I mean, let us see, because honestly, Vishnu, a lot was said about Mr. Advani. Advani ji also, he is contesting from Gandhinagar, as you yourself just said in your introduction. So I think we need to wait and see, because the ticket distribution or decision is it's a dynamic exercise which involves a lot of consultation. Now, when you arrive at a conclusion, it is not arbitrary.
So, will all the respect that you speak about with regard to Jaswant Singh disappear should he decide to quit the BJP?
Well, certainly not. I think
he would then be contesting against you.
Well, I mean, if we are contesting and it is a situation, hypothetically speaking, if such a situation comes, each one of us has to do our dharma, as simple as that. Our candidate, if the official candidate of the BJP is someone, and that's Colonel Sonaram, then we need to work for that, because we have our duty to the party too. But that does not mean that individually you are running down a person.
But wouldn't it actually make Colonel
It's
Sonaram's
hypothetical. I think it's
job
hypothetical
in
yet.
Barmer much tougher?
It's hypothetical. We need to see whether that decision arrives. As I purposely
Already
spoke about.
supporters of Jaswant Singh have been attacking BJP premises and things like that in those areas.
Well, if a few supporters of Mr. Jaswant Singh do act in in a moment of anger, I think we are large-hearted enough not to make it very personal on that sense, and let us see how it plays out. I don't think Jaswant ji himself would ever say that, go out there and, start demolishing an office or start tearing down posters. That's not it.
He's
Maybe
a senior
few
leader. Do you believe that, he has run his course in active politics as far as the BJP is concerned?
Well, I think, in terms of him not getting a seat, it's evident that the party placed the confidence in giving the seat on to someone else. But that does not mean that Mr. Jaswant Singh's utility to the party and the party's looking at options for that are over. And Mr. Jaitley indicated on that in some senses that certainly there may be opportunities to look at that.
Right. So the politician not being allowed to contest, it's an affront.
Well, I think, but it's not the first politician who's not been allowed to contest either.
Well, is that a reality that Jaswant Singh will actually willingly accept? We'll leave it at that. That's because we want to talk about another one of our big debates this evening. Despite all the big talk about decriminalizing politics, over 30% of candidates fielded by various parties, including the Congress and the BJP, have criminal cases against them, as per a new study. The charges include murder, attempt to murder, kidnapping and robbery. We'll bring you some of these details in this report by my colleague Bhairavi Singh.
1 out of 3 candidates who have been fielded by the country's 2 major national parties, the Congress and the BJP, have criminal cases against them. The National Election Watch and the ADR have scanned through a sample of 280 affidavits of candidates from the BJP and the Congress. 30% of candidates fielded have criminal charges against them. Of them, 13% face serious charges like murder and kidnapping. 35% of the BJP candidates face criminal charges, of them 17% are serious. 27% of Congress's candidates, of them 10% serious charges. For example, just in the national capital, both parties have at least 2 candidates with charges of attempt to murder. BJP's Yediyurappa has serious corruption charges in cases of illegal mining, while Sriram Malu's candidature was also questioned for his close association with the Reddy brothers of the Bellary mining scam. Congress's Pawan Bansal, fighting from Chandigarh, had to resign after his nephew faced serious corruption charges.
The rule of law is that unless you're convicted of a crime, you are presumed innocent. And I think that is the way we should continue.
You have to start reading what is between the lines, because 144 and such kind of cases are very common when you're in politics.
The findings on the wealth of the candidates is no surprise though. Nearly 60% of the 280 candidates part of the survey are crore-patis.
The officially declared wealth of the Congress has always been higher than the BJP. So the Congress has a wealth of 6 crores on average per MP, and the BJP's MPs have declared on average 2 crores as well.
The survey does not include candidates from the Aam Aadmi Party or regional parties. It's election season and all parties are busy pointing fingers at each other. But shouldn't they be putting their own houses in order, particularly whether it is the issue of corruption or infighting over tickets or defections? For the BJP and the Congress, most important is their position on corruption, as the AAP continues to position itself as the alternative, which is corruption-free. In New Delhi with camera person Biswajit, Bhairavi Singh for NDTV.
So everybody talks about decriminalizing politics in this country, but is anything ever done? Or are we going to have this debate again a few years later, and certainly ahead of every assembly election? Well, joining us now to debate this, Nalin Kohli, he's been with me in the studio. Colonel Devendra Shehrawat, an Aam Aadmi Party candidate in these elections. Colonel Shehrawat, thanks very much for being with us. Professor Trilochan Shastri, Chairman and Founder Member of the National Election Watch at the Association for Democratic Reforms, which actually came out with these numbers, and C.R. Keswan, spokesperson of the Congress as well, with us. Professor Shastri, these numbers, up till the 13th of March, the numbers that you'd compiled, 35% of candidates from the BJP with criminal cases, 27% from the Congress. Are these numbers actually going up or going down from previous elections?
In terms of candidates, they remain more or less the same. And you see, these are the statistics as per the 2009 affidavits.
Yes.
So when the fresh affidavits are filed, we'll know the real data. And I think this is a sign of the desperation of political parties to somehow win elections at any cost. And as per the Supreme Court judgment recently, these trials against these people with criminal cases should be completed within 1 year. And I don't know if these people are convicted, then we'll have a parliament where 40-50 people are convicted and they'll all have to leave parliament. So I don't know what is this blind desperation to somehow win elections, and how do we trust political parties who are more desperate to win elections than to serve the people? It's a real crisis.
You know, Professor Shastri,
in Indian politics.
Some of the other points that you mentioned, in many of these cases, candidates with criminal records, criminal cases, have been fighting their battles in court for more than a decade. In some cases, more than 2 decades. So there is an assumption that these are cases which will never get resolved.
Well, you know, the recent Supreme Court judgment in response to the petition by the Public Interest Foundation has very clearly said that these cases must be settled one way or the other within 1 year. And quite a few people are going to be convicted, just like Mr. Lalu Prasad and another gentleman from the Congress was convicted and they had to vacate their MP seats. And I think we are going to see a lot of people who, in case they are elected, being forced to vacate their parliamentary seats. And this is a problem which is squarely being created by the political parties and very squarely by the leaders of the political parties. They are playing the same old tired tune. They don't have the political will and the guts to put up clean, honest, capable candidates.
Okay. Let me get reactions from the political parties over here. Nalin, to you first. Yeah. When the BJP talks about decriminalizing politics, you aren't walking the talk, are you?
No, I think, first of all, let's start from the top. That I think the Supreme Court judgment is a great starting point and we welcomed it. I think there's a little bit of a sweeping statement there, and I'll take a moment to explain why. If a political person leads a dharna, or if goes out in a procession and a case is filed against him, it goes into court, summons are there, and you're being tried, you are then officially in your affidavit writing that you have a criminal case pending against you. The same may also hold true for dowry cases, and that's not uncommon. Now, why a politician? It could be anyone. So I think what you need to really come out with is and understand, and that's why the Supreme Court judgment is so important. A, to have the presumption that the person is guilty. The basic law is, and as Mr. Jaitley wrote in his blog post, that you presume a person to be innocent till guilty. Now, the Supreme Court has walked that line brilliantly in terms of giving us the option of saying within a year. So, if someone has and rightfully is being convicted for a crime, within a year you know that. So, those who are wrongly accused, they also get out equally fast, and those who are genuinely accused and convicted,
I think
they don't take it further.
That the cases we are talking about, many of them are very serious cases.
Well, I think if you look at the percentage, it comes down dramatically.
I've got a list of, it does come down dramatically. But if you have 17% of your candidates among the 115 who have been analysed of 204, right, that number of 17% will also go up. Serious criminal cases, what are we waiting for in this country?
I think, again, if we look at it, Vishnu, and I'll give you a straight example on this, as I mentioned about some of the law options, a serious case may also be involved in breaking a property, in a scuffle where somebody may file a 302 against you saying that there was an attempt to murder. Now, it may be serious. Now, police, that's where the whole issue becomes complicated. Police reform, judicial reform, criminalization of politics are intertwined. They are not one or the other. There is the federal issue. There's also the reality of cases being hoisted politically. And there are genuine cases that have been filed too, which are not getting convicted. So I don't accept a sweeping statement, but I agree with Mr. Shastri. And I do say that this is a serious concern. And I'm hopeful because of the Supreme Court judgment.
Colonel, do you accept any of what he's saying? Your party has come on the plank of anti-corruption and I assume, fighting against crime as well. And yet this is a reality that even the Aam Aadmi Party has to sometimes occasionally sort of get affected by when it comes to, for example, serious cases of corruption. Just a couple of days back, Arvind Kejriwal decided that there were people in your party who needed to be removed because they were corrupt. So every political party is part of a reality where corruption and crime or potential crime is a reality.
No, firstly I'll tell you that wherever a case has emerged in the Aam Aadmi Party, that documents have been produced about individuals' involvement in any sort of such activities. We have changed the candidates. It was there, it was done during the Delhi Assembly, and it was done even this time. Candidates have been changed even after the nomination has been filed. So, as far as candidates are concerned, we are following zero tolerance with reference to criminals entering political fray is concerned. The issue here is that like what my friend was just saying, your figures are a little generous toward the BJP. 41% of the member of parliaments of BJP had criminal cases of serious nature. And when you're talking about murder, kidnapping and physical assault, then I don't think there is much of scope left for
41% of BJP leaders
of the member of parliaments.
Of MPs have criminal cases against them.
Yes, if I'm talking about 2009 figures, I have the figures with me right here. So, when you have such figures emerging, then I think there is some very serious issue which needs to be seen. And these are cases which are in the courts. When you talk about the so-called dabang people, the people who have the kind of clout that the normal person or a woman who's been suppressed cannot go to the court, or she is made to withdraw the cases. Such people are the favorites of the political parties. And you have such examples right here in Delhi among the candidates.
Nalin, I'll get you to reply in a moment, but we don't have much time today. I wanted to go across to CR Keswan. Mr. Keswan, we have a list of all of those in the Congress party, and these are very prominent names. I won't bother to repeat all of these names, but attempt to murder cases, serious crime. What exactly is the Congress? Isn't this basically lying to people in the country who you have told that you're against crime, that you want to clean up the entire system before you go into elections? Aren't you doing the same thing?
Vishnu, to begin with, like everybody was discussing here, criminality in Indian politics is endemic, and candidates with dubious backgrounds are prevalent in all parties. Like they mentioned before, I don't want to repeat and reinvent the wheel here. See, the problem for political parties come here when they really can't ascertain whether they're really culpable or innocent, and that's I call the lingering luck, or even the loophole for the candidates, because these pending trials and cases go on forever. As mentioned, the Supreme Court verdict is landmark, it's historic, but more importantly, because you have to complete the cases in 1 year. So when, let's say, a candidate asks for a seat to a party, they can't right away say, it could be due to political vendetta, it could be due to falsely implicating them for personal reasons. So I think these pendency of these cases were a real problem. I think now that has come to an end with the Supreme Court judgment. That will be very, very useful. Second point I want to make is this. I don't want to bring this up as, in a partisan political way, but what Shri Rahul Gandhi did with the ordinance. See, before the problem was, when there was a conviction, you had a 3-month period where you could try. I'm not defending the government here. There was a problem, and even all the parties agreed on August 13th that, convicted lawmakers.
Right, so he tore up the ordinance. In other words, what you're saying is that he took a big step in the fight against crime, right?
No, Mr. Rahul Gandhi ensured by dropping the ordinance that if somebody is convicted, they're
they
disqualified
get,
immediately.
Yes,
And now, coupled with this, I think it's going to be a very powerful weapon. But let me come back again. You talked about ADR. Somebody is interrupting me, please.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yes.
See, you talked about ADR had a very good initiative in 2002. What happened was, I think NDA was in power. I don't want to take political pot shots, but just to give you a background, they said that the candidates, it's mandatory for candidates to ensure that they should disclose their criminal background, educational qualification, financial assets. But the NDA, very strangely passed an ordinance saying that that should not be the case. They should not disclose, and even passed a law in Parliament which was struck down by the Supreme Court. Our friends from ADR will ratify this. So that was overturned, which was a huge step. So, but summing up, I want to say this. See, 3 things. One, the political parties should ensure that, they should ensure that clean and good candidates are put and winnability is set aside. Second point is these laws will have a very restrictive, and good influence on selecting candidates. But more importantly, last point I want to make, Vishnu. See, even nota is just an expression of displeasure. I think the people should have the right to recall. So if nota exceeds 50%, the election should be void. And I think even after an election, a candidate can go rogue.
Okay, Nalin have wanted to reply to some of the points.
Very briefly.
Just go ahead. Yes.
Very briefly. Yes. Number one is, of course, Mr. Rahul Gandhi tore up the ordinance and then they tied up with Lalu Prasad Yadav. So much
but not
for the
before
point.
Lalu went to jail.
Yes, of course. But it doesn't matter. He's still in the same position. And the second point is about the NDA. Just to remind him, historically, there was an all-party meeting in which we had put out the proposal that if someone's convicted or someone has 2 heinous crime cases, they will not allow them to contest, which was opposed by all political parties. Certainly the Congress party is a prominent party. Third comment is on Colonel Sherawat from the Aam Aadmi Party. A lot of their leaders now have had criminal cases filed against them, starting with Mr. Arvind Kejriwal and a lot of their candidates, Ashutosh, Shazia, Professor Anand, which we are aware of. It's only a matter of time before they will be in the same position in terms of facing. From an affidavit point of view, they have been summoned and the court has taken cognizance of it. So today they can pontificate about it, but they are going through the same political process. I think the reality is what I said in the beginning. We need to draw that line in terms of where there may be a genuine issue, where there may not. And I think the Supreme Court is the best example that we have to move ahead. Now we can keep trying to get pot shots here, but at the end of the day, everyone, each political party, including the fledgling.
That point that he's mentioning?
Yeah, what I really want to bring out is...
about Arvind, about Shazia Ilmi and those against whom there are cases.
Well, if they slap someone, it's 323.
The intent and the content and what exactly has transpired leading to those cases is known to everyone. What is alarming is when this ordinance was when this bill was being discussed in the Parliament, there was no discussion on it, and in the attempt to nullify what the Supreme Court had done, even Sushma Swaraj went out of the way to have this bill passed. So that is what is most alarming, that the legislatures are going out of the way to nullify whatever positive steps the judiciary is taking. That is what is a matter of concern to this country.
A one-line straight answer is, if the Aam Aadmi Party goes out and tries to storm a political office or break public property, it's justified because the content is different, because you have won a cap of the Aam Aadmi Party and you are called the Aam Aadmi Party.
That is not the discussion.
I mean, as simple as that.
That's not the discussion. The discussion the discussion is, where is the politics heading? What is the public wanting?
So I mean,
and what are the
when writing takes place,
when
writing takes place by your cadre, then of course it's not a discussion on
there's rioting which takes place by cadres of all parties.
Exactly.
In Patna, including Shatrughan Sinha's thing.
So I'm just
we've seen violence between BJP workers.
That's exactly what I wanted.
Okay.
Is that all political parties they need to look at the way forward, and that is the Supreme Court judgment.
It is in a sense a frightening story when most of our political parties seem to be saying the same thing, that look, let's see what these cases are. Maybe they finally will not be very serious. One way or the other, will the laws of this country enable a cleanup to take place? We are out of time completely. We need to take a short break. Thanks very much for being with us.